What's going on, YouTube? Fuzzy Wuzzy. I got a familiar customer here. Well, let me tell you what went on. Oh yeah, if it looks and sounds a little different, I got a new camera. There has been some complaints that my old camera here was not very good. Ugh, there's my light. So, this is a trial run. See how it looks, see how it sounds. Anyway, the old HHR is here. Haven't sold it yet. It hasn't moved in about a week. It's been too cold. I didn't want to come out here and fuck with it. I ain't doing that shit. But it warmed up. Not warm enough that all my lights are working, but it's warm enough for me. Anyway, here's what's going on. I drove the car around. The car drove fine. Runs like a top. And then one day it just didn't start. Well, what the fuck's going on? It's been super cold. Maybe the battery died. That wasn't it. I get to reading, and these things have pin fitment issues, bad wire issues on the fuse box and the PCM, and whatever else they got under here. So after it didn't start, I took that fuse box and I slapped it around a bit, and the thing fired right up. So that tells me I got a problem with a pin or a burnt wire, just like a lot of the cobalts and other things do. So I got it started. I drove it here in the garage. I actually drove it around. And I got a check engine light on and a security light on. And transmission shifting hard. So, I got more than one pin in there. And it's fucking bullshit, this fucking car, because electrical pins are not a wear item. Why is there problems with it? Because it's a piece of shit. That's why. I'm going back to my Ferds after this piece of shit right here. Anyway, that's a rant for another day. So I'm gonna pull that shit out of there. That's the transmission control module. I am gonna pull that off, check the pins, and because that's what the check engine light's for. It was a P0700, a generic transmission code, and from what I read, it's having trouble talking to the ECM, most likely a bad wire. And then I'm gonna pull. Come on, you. I'm gonna pull these bolts out here and pull the fuse box out, check the harness, check the pins, make sure I can find the bad one, because I'm sure it's something in there, because after I slapped it around, it started. So I'm going to pull all that shit apart, disconnect the battery, and I'll get back to you. Okay, cool. Okay, YouTube. Looking at the pins under here, everything is looking hunky-dory. I don't see any track marks where voltage was jumping across. That you wouldn't see that anyway. I don't see any burnt spots. I don't see any bent over pins. Everything looks fine. Everything looks fine. And the same story with down in here. All these look just fine. So next step is pop these guys out of here and pull the backs off and get to where they actually connect to these blocks. Okay, YouTube. I've been giving everything the look-see. Put that down. Got all the backs off of all of them. And everything's looking just fine. I don't see anything loose. I don't see anything burnt. I don't see anything that would indicate an electrical problem. So I think what I'm going to do is, I know it's got something to do in this area. Because I took the fuse box and I shook it, and then the car started. It's got something in that area. I'm gonna go in the house and get to Google and see if I could find any schematics on where it would tell me where all the grounds are on this thing. I see one. Where are you at? I see one down there, but that's just a little guy. So there's some bigger ones and more of them somewhere. I know where they ground at on the block because I put them back on when I put the engine back in. So I know where a big one is. Since the battery's in the trunk of this thing, the big ground wire, I'm guessing that's the one because it was pretty big, the one that went down there. So there's probably a bunch more on the body somewhere. Oh yeah, and I pulled the transmission one off. Shit. I pulled the transmission pin apart. I don't see anything on that guy either. As to why I'm getting a transmission code, a generic transmission code. That could be another indication of a ground, since every single component, every single fuse is not going to have its own ground. Grounds are often lumped together onto one wire. You know, like 4 or 5 items will have the same ground. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. So let me go see if I can find a chart to see if where they're at. Okay, YouTube. I got her back together. I didn't see anything. I tugged on every wire, every splice where there's factory tape right out of the connector. I tugged on both ends of it. Nothing. The grounds look good. Everything's tight. I didn't see any green, crusty shit. Everything's clean. I should have took the Eric O approach and not slapped that fuse box around and started checking for powers and grounds and shit. But I did what I did and it's done. She's running right now and she's running like a top. No check engine lights on yet. Security light went away. And it even remembered the radio station, which I find really fucking weird because it didn't have the battery connected for a couple days. So how it does that beats the shit out of me. I'm going to take it for a rip and see if I can get that check engine light to kick back on. If there's still something wrong with the transmission, it'll shift hard. Because when the check engine light come on and I got that tranny code, that's when it started shifting hard. So let's see. Alright, let's take a look here. Smooth as glass, smooth as glass. I can't see shit. But smooth as glass, people. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep driving this piece of shit around. And next time she fucks up, I'll just take the Eric O approach and track it down that way. And if it doesn't fuck up in a couple weeks, I'll just dump it. I'm not that kind of used car salesman that just dumps a shitty car on somebody, because I do sell cars to people I know. I've sold a number of cars to people I know, so I don't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully it pops back up again and I can fix it. Alright? I know this video wasn't that informational, but you know, whatever. It's what I'm doing right now. So, peace.